Welcome everybody. This is the intro to our new Facebook group, webinar series, and podcast. Um, Today I have my co-host with me, Harry Derbinsky, and my name is Omar Ben Musana, co-host as well. So Harry Derbinsky is an author, 3P educator, and is an early student of Sydney Banks on Salt Spring Island. Harry is a president of the ACT, or Advanced Coaches Training, and specializes in projects and trainings in these major areas, such as heavily addicted and low income high risk, Indigenous Native American, mentoring, Zoom rooms and sessions worldwide, including North America, Europe, and South America. And his understanding is expressed via his insights regarding the three universal principles of mind, consciousness, and thought, as uncovered by his teacher, Sydney Banks, who stated in the book, The Missing Link, all human behavior and social structures on Earth are formed via mind, consciousness, and thought. Harry likes to teach the spiritual nature of the three principles, along with the psychological nature of the human condition. He is the co-host to the Facebook group called Addiction, Alcoholism, and the Three Principles. It has established a free resource of educational webinars and podcasts, and he is also an author of 3 books, including his latest called The Evolution of Addiction Recovery book, which is an amazing book. Over to you, Harry. And I would like you to just introduce yourself quickly, or say talk about your background.
Omar, why don't we both introduce ourselves? You introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself. Go ahead.
Sure. So I am Omar Ben Musa. I came across the three principles 3.5 years ago, and the speaker at that event was Keith Levin. I had no clue what was the three principles back then, so I didn't really take it in easily. I thought I knew what Keith was talking about until the second day of the seminar, where I knew that, oh my God, I don't know what he's talking about, but I feel good. So that kind of sparked my interest to know more about the three principles. And since then, I've tried to deepen my understanding, and little by little, my feeling and my perspective about life changed, and it really helped me in many areas in my life, including my mental health, my relationship with people, and my relationship with everyone really, and just connecting to the source of the universe, Allah, God. So since then, it's been 2 years ago now that I started coaching part-time using the three principles, and I've seen absolutely amazing results. Like the first client ever I had, she was depressed and she had mania. She was really suffering, and I shared with her what I understood, what I got from the three principles understanding, and she saw something in that changed her life completely. And 1 week later, she told me, oh my God, I feel so happy. I don't remember last time I felt this happy. And my heart is so open. I want to spend Easter with my family. I want to speak with my priest, tell him what's happened to me. And her whole life completely changed upside down. And I'm still in contact with this lady, and she told me, I don't remember last time I was stressed. This is how beautiful this understand is. And many other uh, amazing results in clients. But now I'll um, give it to Harry.
Oh,
To
thanks. That's beautiful, Omar, what you shared. Beautiful. And that's what happened. Omar and I accidentally met in a Zoom room. And the first thing I noticed was his feelings. Like when you talk to people, you'll hear their intellectual prowess, etc. But the deeper aspect of a human being is their feelings. And I could see that Omar had beautiful feelings. And those are what attracts me. Those are the type of people I like to work with because it's those feelings are eternal, like Allah. They're part of the expression of Allah. And what happens is we don't know where it's going to go. And so Omar and I shared and talked and discussed different things. And then the idea came for us. He said something and it spurred a thought in my mind. Why don't we do a Facebook group based upon more of Allah's teachings and the three principles? And there's an important aspect. You don't have to eliminate Allah if we're talking about the three principles. What we're talking about is how we function psychologically healthy, spiritually healthy, and with good luck, physically healthy. So we are venturing into this sharing with the idea that we're all going to learn together. And that's what happened when I met Omar. We started to learn. He learned something, I learned something, and we enjoyed it. So we went like this. And when we became more one, co-host and co-host, the show became a reality. And this is our introduction to let you know can talk about any subject whatsoever. We will talk about addiction. We will talk about insecurity and fear. We will talk about marriage problems. Anything. We'll talk about cultural problem. Anything you want to bring up, we're going to appreciate you doing that. And the more you participate in our show, the stronger the show, the wiser the show, and the more stimulating the show is. So that's my intro.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I completely forgot to say how we met because I remember the first time I've spoken with Harry, and basically we met in the 24 support Zoom room set by Jen Patterson, which is an amazing space to coach people and help people who are stressed in this hectic times of coronavirus. So Harry was the next speaker, and when we started talking, I told him I have only 10 minutes and I have to leave. And then when I start talking with Harry, I checked the time and it was like already half an hour gone. I didn't feel that because I was so attracted to what he was talking about, and I just connected with him quickly, and that really was the start of something amazing. And this idea of doing this together, this Facebook group and show and podcast, this is something I'm sure it's going to be amazing. So Harry, I have a question related to youngster, because what I've realized that like many young people that I have encountered are stressed because they don't know what the future holds for them. What do you think about this, Harry?
Well, first of all, young people are investigating the possibilities of what they may become. And that alone is a problem because it's not known. And when you're dealing with the unknown, there's a way to investigate it. If you investigate it with panic and fear and insecurity, you're going to find it a difficult road. On the other hand, if you investigate it like you are going to experience your true potential and your dream, then you're going to find something very beautiful. Because work has a lot to do with happiness. And work requires you to enjoy it. So you're not just looking, there are going to be people who are just going to do work for money or the future for money. That's nothing wrong with that, but that's a lower level of who you are. You're going to, what they're trying to do is uncover what Allah is telling them in a spiritual way, how they can express themselves as a spiritual being in this practical world. And in that level, all of a sudden work becomes an act of honor to Allah rather than my own personal gain. But on the other hand, you have to find out what your skill set is, who you are, and what are your dreams, and how does Allah agree with that? And when that happens, you become in balance with the true nature of life and your true nature. So in the end, you're looking for your true nature. And yes, it's practical. Yes, it's unknown, but it's exciting. You know, you really should look at it like, oh boy, this is quite a puzzle. And it is. Mine has been. And the one thing you don't want to give up, I really mean this, don't give up your integrity for money. It's not worth it, because you always know whether you are cheating or are honest with yourself and with the people you're providing a service for. Never give up your integrity. It looks like a shorter route, but it's a disaster. It will hurt your marriage. It will hurt your relationship with your kids when you grow up, of course. And it will hurt you. You will not be proud of yourself. You will know back there, I'm playing the game, I'm making lots of money, but I am hurting people. I am creating suffering in the world. No good, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. You stick to yours.
Well, that's beautiful what you just said there, Harry. And has been my experience as well. Like as you said, that we all looking for ourselves, and when we are lost, we basically are trying to find something outside of us that could really make us feel better and give us directions. But in actual fact, that the thing that really helped me and that I've seen in my life is that the more I turn inward, the more I get quiet, the easier I get through life, no matter what's happened to me. I remember days when I used to live in London, I was studying and I had to work and pay my bills and do this and that. I was really caught up in that. I was really stressed, overly stressed. And at some point, I just realized that no matter what happened to me, because it didn't happen once or twice, it happened many times. I realized that no matter what happened to me, I am always fine. I always get through that. But what stays, what really affects me is this thinking, this suffering. It had one purpose, is to really point me at who I really am, to our true self, to our divinity. Yeah. So
just, I would like to add something. So you hear what Omar is sharing. Everything that he's going through is a learning experience. It's all eternal. The spirit is eternal, and everything is interconnected. And what he's going through is he's wisely going through this puzzle or unwisely going through this puzzle. And he explained very beautifully that it's like he didn't always know what to do, but he knew where the answer lay. And he did point to a very good direction inside himself. Very beautiful direction to really understand that's where all the answers are, including the mystery of who I am.
Yeah. So when like many people, when I say to them, look within, or try to point them at that space within us, they usually think that it's it's inside our bodies. So what would you say about this, Harry?
That's a great question and a tough question. First, it's a metaphor. Look within. It's like Allah or God or what. It's there's a metaphor, a word to describe. It always starts with you first. The feeling that you have inside of you. So if you have fear inside of you, that's what's going to come out. If you have love, compassion, understanding, that's what's going to come out. So inside is a metaphor to say that the Allah inside of you, your soul, or I'm not sure what the word would be but when that is felt, you are alive with that feeling. That feeling grows and grows like a fire. It gets bigger and bigger. And it is real. See, that's the joke. It's real. It's not just, it's invisible. I give you that. And Sydney Banks, our teacher, said, beyond time, space, and matter. That's inside. No time, no matter, no space. It's invisible, but it's real. See, that's what makes it interesting. It's not just a theory. It's a reality. Like this. You see this here? What's between my hands? Like as I make this sort of crescent or circle. What's there, Omar? What's in between there? Some people might say nothing, but no, that's not true. There's molecules and neutrons. There's lots of stuff there, but we can't see it. That's inside. It's real. It's solid, and it grows as you learn how to express it. We're going to teach you how to allow that fire to grow, and what it will do is will bring you closer to the fire that Allah was pointing towards, because it's the same pointing. It's just how to become a better human being inside out. Outside, blaming everything on the outside, that's old psychology. My mommy, my daddy, my money, this teacher hurt me. That the world is a mess. I'm not saying that's not true, but that's not, it originates from inside you. You feel good, and what you see outside looks different. You feel lousy. I'm going to tell a story, the native Indian indigenous story. This little girl sits on the lap of this old elder, and she says, Papa, Grandpapa, tell me a story. And he says, this is an old story from the old days. Inside of you are two wolves. There's the black wolf, and the black wolf is all about greed and selfishness and anger and me. And the white wolf is all about loving and sharing and caring. And she says, well, that's interesting, but which wolf will win, Papa? And he said, the one you feed. If you feed the black wolf, that is what you're going to experience. If you feed the white wolf, that is what you're. Inside, there are two wolves, but you will see that it's all one. How it's one, you have to see for yourself. I'd love to be able to tell you, but of course, it's impossible. Some religions call the one the great nothingness. How does the great nothingness and the oneness be the same thing? That's kind of like Omar's question. But inside you means it starts right there. How would you explain it, Omar?
Yeah, good. It's really good question actually. I used to believe that inside of me, like it's basically what I've just asked. That inside my body, I have something in there. But when I came across this understanding, it really showed me that I knew nothing. That I was missing the point. That inside of me is not something that is that you can thingify. It's a space. It's something where everything unfolds. I mean, even talking about it, it's hard because there is no specific words to point at this space within us, but you can for sure experience it once your head is quiet. Once you don't engage, as Harry said, with the bad wolf and the good wolf, on just be still, and before you know it, you are in that space of oneness and love and Allah space. That's Allah space,
That's what we're
and
talking
that's
about. What we're talking about,
yeah,
Omar, is Allah space. The three principles are Allah mind, Allah consciousness, Allah thought. Not personal thought. Personal thought is the psychological, and we will show you how those two worlds are one. We will show you that. But it's Allah thought. That's where the goodies are. That's where you shine. And that's where you have clear direction. And that's where you see the answer to all your problems. So it's so ironic. You have to go to the silence of Allah to find the answer to that noisy mind of yours. It's kind of like Allah says, not there. You know where he's pointing. You know where he's pointing towards. To the good stuff. The juice of life. Not the prison of everything is confined within a certain way. We cannot define nothingness, nor can we define going inside. But we know that you are, the origin of psychology is you are the thinker. See, those thoughts that are pouring through that head of yours, they are not just happening. You're the thinker. And you put that into your brain. But we're not talking that the answer is in the brain. We're talking that the answer is in mind, universal mind, Allah mind. And that's, brain is just a computer. It's just whatever it's stored information. We'll show you how that works. We'll teach that to you. That's easy stuff. But the harder stuff is actually the more fun. Because it's not actually hard, it's intuitive, it's instinctual. It's just it's just you just know. And you can't tell people how you know, but it's fact, fact, fact. Personal belief is part of a changing world. Fact is eternal. Allah's message is eternal, guys. Not only for Muslims, for everyone. But of course, only certain people are going to be taken that way. But how we function through these three principles are neutral. They are not going to affect, they're going to enhance your understanding of Allah and his beautiful message of eternal peace and love and happiness, of connecting us to be good people. And that's what I want. I want to grow to become a better human being. I like that. So simple. If I'm a better human being, my kids like me more. My friends like me more. And guess what? As Omar is suggesting, you're going to like yourself more. And that's going inside. That was a good question, Omar.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a real cool, that's a winner.
A juicy question.
A juicy question, you bet. And that came, actually, you didn't have that written down. By the way, all these questions I have not heard of before. We
Yeah.
want to do it fresh. We don't want, I don't want to have preconceived ideas before so that's also to notice.
That's,
Yeah.
That's amazing, because like I've only asked one questions that I've written down. How amazing is that? So I just want to say something about what you just um, um, last year in the 3P UK conference, I met Shana Studley, and she is the author of the book called The Myth of Lost Self-Esteem, a novel about PTSD, Hollywood, and healing. And she just wrote to me like 3 days ago on my birthday. I shared some picture and I shared some insights I've had since I came to, across the three principles and everything. And she told me, I remember, I said something in the post that said, what we've been looking for, we've been looking with. And she heard something in that phrase, and she told me that really touched me, and that I remember you were fasting during the 3P conference, and while everyone, like, as she's a Jewish Orthodox, and she told me while everyone is like from a different religion, we were just working as one, because she was the head of volunteers. She was taking care of volunteers last year, and she said that we were working in a full harmony, like no judgment, just just their pure love, just serving. And this reminds me of something I've heard from Deacon Bettinger. He once said that love is the absence of judgment. When we are in that space of love, there is no place for judgment or racism or stereotypes or this. There is no separation.
That's true, because we're not talking about personal love. We're talking about spiritual love or eternal love. And that's, in that, there's no thinking. There's just being. And if you're obviously thinking on when you're in that state of being, will take you away from that. So, sometimes a woman will say to a man, it's in the feeling, it's in the feeling. And they go, well, describe to me what you mean. Well, of course she can't, because the feeling of love is pure. It's what we love. We love being in a state of love. And it brings people together. See, when Omar and I met, we didn't know each other, but within a very short period of time, we did know each other. We were in love, but not physical love, not personal love. It was eternal love. It was a thing that brings soul to soul together. That's Allah to me. When two become one, or six become one, that's Allah. That's the expression of Allah. Allah is still before that, but it's the expression of Allah. And that expression doesn't matter if Omar is from Morocco and I'm from Canada. Doesn't matter whether Shauna is Jewish or Muslim. It supersedes all that stuff. That's like cultural training. That's not who they are. And she said something at the beginning of your statement, Omar, that I say in a different way. You don't talk about spirit. You talk from spirit. It's in you. So if you're talking about it, it's better than not being aware of it at all. But that's not what Allah is teaching. You live in it. You talk from it. And then everything is love. Everything is easy. Everything is not judgment and thinking. And when I think, of course I think. And does it distort the picture? It's like things on my glasses, eh? Sid used that metaphor. You know, it becomes like things on your glasses. So, example, I did a recent talk at Three Principles Global Community on Sydney Banks and the spiritual reality we live in. And I decided to take a chance. So I talked about the indigenous world that I have done a lot of teaching in, because I basically keep away from that topic with 3PGC, the Three Principle Global Community. They like psychological stuff and spiritual stuff related to the psychological component. So I did the talk and I had thoughts, Omar. So when I finished it, I was a little disappointed. I felt maybe it was an unwise decision. Maybe it was. A week later, it came out and I listened to it. And I went, oh, wow, that was really beautiful. That was new. That was fresh. That was different than I'd ever. My personal subjective mind didn't see what it was. And you're going to find that on the show too. We'll do a show and you'll have an idea of how the show was. And you might even be upset about something you said. And then you listen to it after and go, oh, that was beautiful. Or I might say something, you go, gee, the Harry's awful talkative. Yep, 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 yep. And then you listen after and you go, ooh, that was pretty beautiful. So there's the purity of Allah's message, which is pure state of love. And in that pure state of love, that's natural to you. And then we have learned stuff from school and mama and papa, etc. That's subjective, and it starts to distort the truth. When you're in a state of love, it's interesting, Omar. You and I have been in a state of love primarily, not personal, not physical. It's just a space. And you notice we haven't really had judgment, like Dick and Bettinger said. We've actually just been investigating the unknown, like this show. Did we know we were going to do this show? No. It just emerged out of love.
Yeah, this is so beautiful what you just said. And one more thing that occurred to me while talking about love is as you said, is not intimate love. Is this space where everything is our nature. It's our true nature. And I have a question for you, Harry, about that. And that's like some people say that if love is my true nature, or happiness or connection or this and that is my true self, my natural state, why do I feel sometimes bad, or why do I feel stressed out, or
that's the
where is it gone?
$1 million question, and the answer is simple. Because when Allah created you, Allah gave you free will to think whatever you want. And when you use that free will unwisely, that's the problem. When you use your free will to think whatever you want wisely, the wise use of thought, then you're feeding the white wolf. But when you use your free will to feed the black wolf, what are you going to create? Stress, worry, anxiety, fear, uh, frustration, anger, violence, drinking, addiction, pornography, etc., etc. None of which, by the way, on one level is bad. It's all part of your growth. Oh, he's addicted, or he's a loser, or he can't get a job. It's all part of your of what you're doing. Guess what? Omar and Harry have gone through the same thing. Not, as severe as some of the things I've discussed, but we have I been insecure? You bet. Have I been feeding the wrong wolf with thought? You see, it's so simple. Stop feeding that wolf. So when clients come to me, Omar, they always have the same problem. The description is different. Marriage, money, can't sleep, overeat, over addiction, over drink. The problem is they don't like their thoughts. It's driving them crazy. And guess what, Omar? They can't stop thinking about their thoughts and talking about it. I am a loser. This is negative. The world. And you say, well, why don't you move over to the positive, to the white wolf? And they go, oh, okay. And then they go, but back to the, you are creating negative realities, which are really negative perceptions of reality via thought. And if you misuse thought, don't blame Allah. Allah says, fine. That's your evolvement. That's your learning. Dr. Bill Pettit had a beautiful phrase that I just love, Omar. He says, when all this bad stuff is happening, that's love letters from Allah. Allah is saying, hey, you're going the wrong way. And you're going, I'm busy right now, Allah. Could you come back another time? And then Allah says, okay, I'll kick you again in the bum. And then you go, ooh, that really hurt. Maybe I better pay attention to that. And then you're on your road to recovery. See, we're naturally resilient. We naturally rise again. We've never been broken. We just think we're broken. Maybe I'll add one more thing. I like telling indigenous Aboriginal stories. So this wise elder said to me, anxiety. Oh, what's anxiety? I said, anxiety is nothing, just a thought, and you grab hold of it, and you don't let go of it. She says, oh, so what's the answer? I says, wasn't it obvious?
I love that, Harry. It's just about letting go of your,
beliefs and concepts.
Noise.
Yeah, that's right. All those personal thinkings, that's ego. Well, but letting go of me. I'm so important. I know what I'm doing. Well, Omar and I found out that's not so true. The more
exactly, Harry. This reminds me actually of the first day of the seminar when I met Keith, because I was all into, I know what he's talking about. I was so arrogant about it, and I was so wrong that I didn't want to let go that I was right, just because of my ego. That was ego right there. And the moment I've decided that, oh, I don't know what he's talking about, maybe I should listen. And what got me interested is the feeling that I felt the second day. Because to be honest with you, I found Keith Blevins so boring the first day, just because I used to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was trying to find his words. He was trying to, he was like, I was like, just have confidence and speak it up. But I didn't know that he was coming from the unknown, from this space where that you cannot really describe with words, and he just speaks from what comes in the moment. And yeah, now I love Keith. He's an amazing human being, and I love listening to Keith. Um, one more thing is that the second day, I felt really peaceful, and this is what's got me interested to know more about this understanding. So I kind of um, my ego collapsed, and when the ego collapses, you see something fresh, you see something new, you're ready um, to hear, to change. um, yeah.
Maybe
So I
let,
have,
let's
yeah,
define, let's do, what does he mean by his ego collapsed? He
sure.
basically, in my opinion, means that this for a second was not the most important thing in his life. All of a sudden, the spectacles, the eyes cleared because he wasn't so obsessed with his own thoughts. And he let that quiet down. And in that emptying, he found his true nature, his beauty, his love, and his wisdom. And in his words, his peace of mind. And he was looking for peace. And that's what he found. You're going to have it. You're going to find it. When I love that image you put out, Omar. I've never heard it before. The collapse of the ego. That's what we're teaching. Beautiful, beautiful. Never heard that before. And it's such a metaphor. It's so powerful. The ego is the boogeyman, and yet it's part of who you are.
Yeah.
And you're a bit of the boogeyman too, you know. Go figure, eh? Yeah, and here you thought you were so almighty, incredible, and you are. But you're a boogeyman too.
I'm all of it. But here's the thing: once the ego collapses, you are present. And me and Harry, like we were speaking last time, and then this occurred to me: the now psychology. We fall into the now psychology, and
Oh yeah,
when
Dad,
you're not here, we are just in the present moment. We are here. So I was there listening to Keith, and I got impacted because I wasn't trying to work it out or trying to understand it. I was just enjoying the music he was playing.
this the now psychology is pointing you to where the three principles are pointing to you the now. That's where the answer. The collapse of the ego equals the now. The more the ego collapses equals the more you are in the now. And in the now, that all of a sudden you see truth and wisdom. Truth. Oh, I love truth. Something you can hold on to. So precious. Beliefs. Truth. Yum, 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 yum. Tasty.
Yeah.
Omar, I feel that this is a good place for us to, we can continue, but this is a good intro for people to what we're going to be discussing and talking and the feeling of our show. I think we've done a really, really good job of that. I think this, I'm going to stop the recording now. And I think
Sure.
this we can still just
It's been amazing. Yeah.